Today on Rappler, a former election official testifies former President Gloria Arroyo ordered the former governor of Maguindanao province to cheat for her party in the 2007 elections. Pag-asa upgrades Butchoy international name Guchol from tropical storm to severe tropical storm. And the Liberal Party has an unofficial list of 15 to 20 names for its senatorial slate. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Former Maguindanao Provincial Administrator Nori Unas testifies former President Gloria Arroyo ordered former Maguindanao Governor Andal Ampatuan Sr. to ensure a 12-0 victory for her senatorial slate in Maguindanao in 2007. Comelec says Unas' testimony is key to prosecuting Arroyo in the electoral sabotage case, which now has her under hospital arrest. Unas is the right-hand man of the former Maguindanao governor. Unas says days before the elections, he went with Ampatuan to a dinner with Mrs. Arroyo and Presidential Advisor for Political Affairs, Gabby Claudio. Also present were Arroyo administration's candidates for senator led by Prospero Pichay, Vicente Magsaysay, Tessie Aquino Oreta, and Juan Miguel Zubiri. Mrs. Arroyo allegedly emphasized that her senatorial bet should win in Maguindanao. In response, Ampatuan supposedly promised, quote, Maguindanao was the extension of Pampanga, referring to her home province, and Maguindanao will deliver the votes. Unas claims that after the dinner, he heard Mrs. Arroyo tell Ampatuan it should be 12-0 in Maguindanao in favor of the administration, even if you have to manipulate the results. During cross-examination, lawyers for Arroyo established that Unas did not witness actual cheating himself. Unas counters, I have not seen how they did it, but I know they're doing it. Defense lawyer Siegfried Fortun attempts to dismiss Unas' testimony as hearsay. Questioning Unas, Fortun establishes that only 3 people were present when Mrs. Arroyo allegedly instructed Ampatuan Sr. to rig the 2007 senatorial elections, Unas himself, Ampatuan, and Arroyo. Fortun says this means no one else can corroborate Unas' affidavit, describing it as, quote, his word against theirs. The Pasay court is hearing Mrs. Arroyo's petition to post bail. If the court finds no strong evidence of guilt against her, it could allow the former president to post bail and be released from hospital arrest.
Well, he doesn't know anything personally. He's just assuming that since he gave money, there was already cheating or tampering. Or do you expect that when you give money to other people, they will already cheat for you?
The much-discussed merger between the second and third largest television stations, GMA7 and TV5, could be completed before the end of the year, says TV5 Chair Manny Pangilinan. He says there were, quote, positive vibes between the two companies. Discussions began before he left for the United States with President Aquino. The news comes as San Miguel President Ramon Ang says they may buy into a broadcast media firm but declines to give any details. Ang, who is also the president of Philippine Airlines, also reveals they're considering a deal with a regional airline to be more competitive.
Desire on both parties to come to terms. You know, there are many issues to be discussed, but you could sense that there are positive vibes on both sides. So
there are some options being offered to us. I never said GMA. No.
So, are you
Hindi, I cannot tell you anything about that kasi, you know, it's always important to keep the deals
But you already
secret, you know, until it's really done. Thank you.
What about
Salamat.
RPN and IBC then? Yung regional airline?
Yeah, we'll join the bidding of any government deals.
University of the Philippines professor and lawyer Katrina Lagarda accepts her nomination as Chief Justice. A source from the Judicial and Bar Council confirms Lagarda sent her acceptance letter on June 11th, the second to do so after former UP Law Dean Raul Pangalangan. Pangalangan told Rappler he accepted his nomination on June 8th. Other nominations for Chief Justice pour in, the latest that of former Solicitor General Frank Chavez, former Makati Congressman Teodoro Teddy Boy Locsin, and Government Peace Panel Chairman Marvic Leonen. Chavez was former Solicitor General from 87 to 92, was a candidate for Ombudsman in 2011, which he declined, and filed numerous cases against various public officials. The latest, a plunder case against former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Locsin was an editorial writer for the Philippine Free Press and publisher of the newspapers The Daily Globe and Today. He is the former press secretary, speechwriter, and presidential legal counsel of President Cory Aquino. Locsin was a candidate for Associate Justice in the Supreme Court in 2009 but was not appointed. Marvic Leonen is a former law professor who went on to become Dean of the UP Law School. He was admonished by the Supreme Court in 2011 for leading 36 other faculty members of the UP Law School in calling for the resignation of Justice Mariano del Castillo, who allegedly plagiarized parts of his decision in a case. He is now the chairman of the Peace Panel in peace talks with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. How does the Judicial and Bar Council assess a candidate for chief of the highest court of the land? Purple Romero files this report for our series, Choosing the Chief Justice.
3 allies of President Benigno Aquino III are nominees to the post of Chief Justice. Bureau of Internal Revenue Commissioner Kim Hinares, Justice Secretary Leila de Lima, and Solicitor General Francis Ardaleza. Aquino says he has yet to decide if he will appoint any of them, but adds all of them are qualified. Hinares finished accounting in De La Salle University, graduated with honors from Ateneo Law School, and completed her master's in Georgetown. Hinares was a deputy commissioner in BIR under the term of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, but left in 2005 following the Hello Garci scandal in 2004. De Lima placed 8th in the 1985 bar exams, finished law in Sambeda, and worked as an election lawyer before being appointed by Arroyo as chair of the Commission on Human Rights in 2008. She joined the Aquino cabinet in 2010. Ardaleza took up law in the University of the Philippines and completed his master's in Harvard University. He was a former senior vice president of San Miguel Corporation and was a candidate to the Supreme Court in 2011, but was instead appointed as Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon. Less than a year to the job, he was made Solicitor General. No one is questioning the competence of the three. What is under doubt is their capability to be independent from Aquino. Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago says Hinares and De Lima should decline because they testified against Chief Justice Renato Corona in his impeachment trial. Senator Francis Escudero, a member of the Judicial and Bar Council, also says they should not vie for the post out of delicadeza. Escudero is one of the 6 members of the JBC who will screen and select candidates for the post of Chief Justice. De Lima, who is also a member of the JBC as DOJ Secretary, has already inhibited from the deliberations. But another JBC member disagrees. Retired Court of Appeals Justice Aurora Lagman says the 3 should not be taken out because of their affiliation with Aquino.
That would be unfair naman to automatically consider them as to be not independent. That would be unfair. We should give them a chance to explain themselves. We know them So, di ba? They're public figures. We are all aware of how they conduct themselves and how they run the office.
But how does the JBC assess the independence of a candidate to the Supreme Court?
During the interview, and that if that person is already a member of the judiciary through their decisions, and otherwise, if he is not, if that person, he or she is not a member of the judiciary, we also look into the records. And as I've told you, we conduct survey, so we also have a way of knowing.
But there is another way for the JBC to determine the independence of an SC contender, by listening to what the public has to say about them. Purple Romero, Rappler.
The Liberal Party lists 15 to 20 names in its senatorial slate for the 2013 elections. LP Secretary General Joseph Emilio Abaya told Rappler, quote, "It is a fluid list, it's overflowing." Thursday was the first time party leaders discussed their senatorial ticket, but Abaya says the list is not official. It was, quote, "preparatory work" before they convened the LP National Board. Abaya refused to give names, but admits that re-electionist senators are on the list.
It could be that.
Pag-asa upgrades Butchoy, international code name Gutchol, from tropical storm to severe tropical storm. The Weather Bureau spots Butchoy last 780 kilometers east of eastern Samar. Bicol and eastern Visayas will also feel the effects of the enhanced monsoon by Friday. Pag-asa forecasts the storm will miss land, but is not discounting it may cross the Visayas. But for now, it's expected to curve west-northwest in the next 24 to 48 hours. The World Boxing Organization will review Timothy Bradley's shock split decision victory over Manny Pacquiao. WBO President Francisco Paco Valcarcel says in a statement that the body's championship committee will review the fight, but he says, quote, "I want to clarify that in no way does this say that we're doubting the capacity of these judges." Valcarcel says the committee will meet soon and evaluate the video of the fight with the help of 5, quote, "recognized international judges." They will make a recommendation to the WBO based on, quote, "what emerges." 7-time Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong confirms he is facing new doping allegations from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA. It can result in the stripping of Armstrong's 7 Tour de France titles. He vehemently denies using performance-enhancing drugs during his career and calls the new charges, which stem from discredited allegations from the past, baseless. USADA says its case is supported by evidence, but the multi-titled athlete maintains his position and says, quote, "I have never doped." Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff opens the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, dubbed Rio +20, on Wednesday. She calls on all countries to commit to an agreement on how to address serious environmental issues like overconsumption that's straining the Earth's resources. Over 100 leaders are expected to attend, including French President François Hollande and Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao. At number 6, prosecutors seek the death penalty for former Tunisian leader Ben Ali, who has been living in exile in Saudi Arabia. He presided over the crackdown which ignited the Arab Spring. Ali initiated this clampdown that killed at least 22 people, after which he fled the country. At number 7, Aung San Suu Kyi, Myanmar's pro-democracy leader, arrives in Geneva, Switzerland to address the United Nations at the start of her European visit. On Thursday, she speaks to the International Labor Organization, the ILO, which leads a campaign against child and slave labor in Myanmar. She will also give her long-awaited Nobel lecture in Norway on Saturday, June 16th. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize on October 14, 1991, for her, quote, "nonviolent struggle for democracy and human rights." Suu Kyi spent much of the past 24 years under house arrest. And at number 8, Chinese authorities will investigate the case of a woman forced to have an abortion 7 months into her pregnancy. The move was triggered by public uproar caused by the image of the baby's corpse posted online. The mother failed to pay the fine imposed on women who violate China's one-child policy. Zhenping County, where the abortion took place, promised a transparent probe under a special committee. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, June 14th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.